Emergency talks are being held this afternoon to tackle the so-called scallop wars. British and French officials meeting in central London at Defra to negotiate a deal, it's hoped, after fishermen from both sides clashed in the English Channel last week. It happened in the scallop-rich grounds of the Baie de Seine, where up to 40 French vessels circled some dozen UK boats, some 12 nautical miles from the coast of Normandy. British vessels are legally allowed to fish in the area all year round, but in a bid to preserve stocks, the French are banned from scallop dredging between mid-May and October, the summer months essentially. The French fishermen want the British to face the same restrictions. Well, in a moment we'll speak to Sky's Adele Robinson, who's at Defra listening to what's going on at those talks where the meeting's been held. First, let's cross to Devon. Rebecca Williams is in the fishing town of Brixham. Rebecca, welcome to you. What's the mood amongst the fishermen there? They know law is on their side, but that might not necessarily be where the matter rests.
No, I think they're pretty fed up with the French, to be fair. They went out there, many of these boats, last week. This one that I'm stood next to at the moment, this was injured, damaged. It had its windows smashed. That's been replaced now. But they are planning to head back out there later on today, and we are planning to go with them. They could be there for a couple of days. There is a chance that they just simply get sent back by the French Navy, who are patrolling the waters at the moment. But if they are allowed to fish, of course, they'll be out there for about 6 days. So that is the plan. It will be the first British boat to head back into the Baie de Seine since that violence erupted last week. But lots of people here saying it's unfair because, of course, the French are able to fish 6 miles off our waters. We're allowed to fish 12 miles off theirs, and obviously there are very complicated fishing regulations. Now, the French will tell you that they're protecting their fish stocks and their shellfish over there. They can only fish in their waters at certain times of the year, whilst there are no regulations for the British, but it does happen the other way round as well. We saw just a few days ago, the French caught this massive load of bluefin tuna, 44 of them there were, sold for thousands and thousands of pounds, and that was off the coast of the Channel Islands, where British boats can't go, but the French can. So it's very complicated, these fishing rules, and many people here saying that they're hoping Brexit will sort things out, where we can be in control of our own waters. But lots of the fishermen here in Brixham did experience that violence last week, and I spoke to one of them. Here's what Chris had to tell me.
When we got there, it was okay for the first 24 hours. And then the next thing, it had the radar on, and there was a fleet of about 50 boats come out of Le Havre, and it just went mayhem. Chaos, petrol bombs, shackles, nuts, bolts, things through windows, chucking oil, empty old oil cans onto the deck of the boat, so if any oil hits your catch, it sends it off as well. It's completely out of hand. It's not one rule for one and one for another. You know, if they can fish our waters, we should be able to fish their waters. Fair's fair at the end of the day, if you ask me.
So the scallops off the coast of Normandy are among the richest in the world, so you can see why so many people want to fish there. Like I say, this boat is heading back out there. A lot of fishermen here in Brixham, though, are questioning that move. I think they will be interested to see what happens. They're not heading back because some of them have been told that actually their producers won't buy the French scallops off them because they can't then export them and send them back to France because they believe there is some sort of political stand being made by the French. So it's all up in the air. They are aware that this meeting is going on, but they are not too confident that a deal will be reached. They say this issue has been going on for many, many years. In fact, about 15, Colin.
Becky, well done fighting the noise from the pneumatic drill. Just about the most distracting noise it's possible for a live broadcaster to face. Let's turn to Sky's Adele Robinson, who's at DEFRA, the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. A quieter location today. What about inside, do you think, Adele?
Well, the crisis talks began at around 2 p.m. There does seem to be a willingness from both sides to try to resolve these tensions. So there are representatives currently inside from the fishing industry from both sides of the channel. We have representatives from the French Fishermen's Association, also the Director for Fisheries here in Britain, as well as representatives from the British Fish Producers Association. Now, we're told that no ministers are attending, but Downing Street again have reiterated the fact that both sides are hoping to reach an amicable amicable solution. Now, we believe that the British representatives have been inside the building here at DEFRA all morning having their own meetings prior to the 2 o'clock meeting. But we did see the French representatives arrive around an hour ago. In fact, we spoke to Dimitri Rogoff, who's from the Normandy Fishermen's Association. A summary of what he said was that they weren't here to talk about Brexit, they were here to talk about the scallop row, that they were coming here as friends to try to reach an agreement, and that they were searching for peace. He also said that he wanted things to be fair between the two countries, that they've been working together for years to improve relations, and they have to find an agreement. Now, just a little bit of background to this. This has been tense between British and French fishermen for around 15 years, but for the last 5 years there has been this agreement that larger British vessels wouldn't enter those French waters 12 nautical miles off the northern coast to fish for scallops, for example. That appears that recently the French side wanted to extend that to smaller vessels, and so that agreement's broken down. So it's hoped that original agreement from 5 years ago, from 2013, may at least be put back in place. Whether or not that will placate the French fishermen, I'm not too sure, but this is certainly a meeting that is expected to go on for some time.
Thanks a lot.